Everything okay?
I'm sorry, sir, but you need to get back to your car.
Anybody hurt?
A couple of injuries, but nothing serious.
Get down!
Well, another week's gone by, another episode of The Mandalorian has come and gone, and I think we're at the point now where we have to ask ourselves collectively, what the hell is going on with this show? Who are these people masquerading as Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni? Everything so far has been a disjointed mess. The writing has become increasingly convoluted and subpar. Plot lines and character work have been reduced to little more than subplots and set dressing in the case of Baby Yoda, and I'm not here for any more of that. I'm glad there's only a few episodes left of this show, because honestly, I don't know what else we can stomach with this. We're not going to do an episode of Winter's Wrath Summer Scorn this week. King Z is on location working a different job, but I do have a little bits of his thoughts to clip in here in a little bit, give you a stretch of his thoughts after I get mine out of the way. I'm going to try not to ramble too much, because the episode, I feel like it's just not worth it anymore with this franchise. There's no splitting hairs here with this show, unfortunately. And if the collective group out of Lucasfilms can't take the source material, their story, their IP seriously enough to treat it with the respect it deserves and to respect us as fans enough on the level that we deserve, then I'm not going to respect it in a review either anymore. There really is no splitting hairs here with this show. There's, for whatever perceived pacing issues a show like Andor might have, at least there was a plot to break down, and kind of you could banty back and forth with your friends and say this about a character's motivation or this about a plot line or a plot point. But The Mandalorian has none of that. It's wall-to-wall cartoon nonsense, start to finish, every week now, and I'm kind of sick of it. This show started on such a cool note, where we were going to get a character kind of like Boba Fett, in universe, doing some bounty hunting work. They introduced the wolf and cub angle with Baby Yoda forever ago. And for all the good that might have been in season 1, it's run its course. It's done for me. They got the little green puppet around doing backflips. They're just tossing him back and forth like a fucking football at this point, giving him nothing to do because his arc is closed out, having met Luke and rejected Jedi teaching, wanting to be back with Din, which is fine, but then close that loop and write him off the show. Have him be a foundling, within the Mandalorian covert somewhere else, and leave him there and let this effing character, the title character, go do his thing. At this point in the show now, we're being told, through various channels, various places, that the name of the show, The Mandalorian, it was never designed just to be Din's. Like, who believes this? Like, oh no, it was Baby Yoda. He's the real Mandalorian now because he's being trained to accept the way. And oh no, it's not that. It's Bo-Katan. She's the Mandalorian because she was a Mandalorian princess before the fall and this and that. Oh no, it's not that. It's full stop on this nonsense. This show does not know what it wants to be. And as King Z will get into his breakdown, because I previewed the clips, obviously. They try to do 4 or 5 different things in this episode, and they end up doing none of them well because they can't commit to plot, to tone, to character. Hell, they can't even commit to the things they said a few weeks ago in episodes. They just randomly undo things that they've done, and to the detriment of everything else that's going to follow. Now, I'll get into a couple of small things that I did like about this week's episode. I think it was episode 6. It might have been episode 5. I don't care. That's how little I'm invested in this show now. Real quick, The Mandalorian is with Bo-Katan. They're on their beginnings of her quest to reunite Mandalore with the Armorer's Blessing. They're traveling to find the members of the fleet that abandoned her after she did not have the Darksaber, blah, blah, blah. All right? So they wind up having to touch down on some other world and do a little bit of investigating about rogue droids, starting to mildly inconvenience the populace. There was no big reveal there, no death, no real inconvenience, no conflict to overcome. It was kind of dumb. But having said that, it's pretty straightforward. It almost reads and watches like an episode of old Scooby-Doo cartoons from back in the day, and where you get to the episode, they yank the monster's mask off, and they reveal it's who they didn't suspect in the slightest at the beginning, and then he goes, and I would have got away with it except for you meddling damn teenagers or whichever, and it feels exactly like that, and it's made even worse by the fact that it's poor Christopher Lloyd, who tries to channel the best of his Judge Doom impression from like Roger Rabbit from back in the day. But my man's like 132 years old, and he just doesn't have that kind of menace. He has it in the eyes still, for sure. But the energy level, the posture, and the voice, he just doesn't have it anymore. But I digress. All right? And spoilers, because I don't care. And you guys shouldn't care either about this nonsense at this point. This is not Star Wars by any stretch. All right? First thing I don't like. This episode's 35 minutes long, cutting credits, and you can actually excise about 25 minutes of what's left to get down to the core thing that they're trying to accomplish. Case in point example, the beginning of the episode shows the Mandalorians, including I think that was Sasha Banks, that were with Bo-Katan originally in season 2, the ones that left her after she that took the Imperial cruiser and bailed. Probably the ones that have rescued Moff Gideon, I'm guessing, based on last episode, but we'll see how that resolves. They probably might not even address that again. The episode opens on those Mandalorians on a mission to return a runaway prince back to his home world. So they stall out, some other alien vessel's ship and reclaim him without a shot fired, and with a basic exchange of actually kind of compassionate, kind dialogue, in my opinion. So it was kind of crisis averted without anything really interesting happening, and then done. Like we're all done with that. It was 5 or 6 minutes long to set the tone, I guess, for the other Mandalorians in the group, but it goes nowhere. It amounts to nothing, and it sets up no plot point for later in the episode, where that group comes across Bo-Katan and Din Djarin as they're trying to not have the prince go home because somebody else hired him to bring him where he wanted to go. But they don't get into any of that. They just resolve that thing in 5 minutes and we're done. The less we can say about Lizzo and Jack Black in this episode is another massive part that can get excised right out. Jack Black is Jack Black. I guess he's kind of funny. He does that quirky dialogue thing that's kind of made him famous in all the things he's in. Whatever. Didn't feel like Star Wars to me. It's too light. It reads like Saturday morning fun for kids, and I get it. Everybody's supposed to have an access point to Star Wars, but I didn't have a trouble having an access point to Star Wars back in the 80s when I was 5 or 6 years old and watching A New Hope. Like, it didn't have to be cartoonified down for me to enjoy it. So I don't get Jack Black having to be like his normal clown version of himself, which is fine, which is charming in other settings. It just doesn't work for me in Star Wars. Lizzo. I don't care how talented she is with musical instruments. I don't listen to her music. I don't know if she can rap. I don't know if she can sing opera. I don't know if she can play the drums. I don't care. She has her political views, which probably don't line up with most of mine, and that's fine too. She's objectively awful on this show. She is not an actor by any stretch of the imagination at this point. She seems completely out of place based on her inability to carry a scene, especially when matched up against people like Jack Black, who can act even if they are playing fools. It just doesn't work. You can almost see her eyes darting off to read cards at some points. No. Christopher Lloyd, like I mentioned earlier, yes, he's in the episode. Yes, he does fine, but it's kind of cartoonish and kind of sad. But the point here is that there's so many, the 3 cameos reek of desperation. It's almost like the writers know that the show knows it's running on fumes, that it's almost out, like it's done. So they think that having popular celebrities roll through is going to somehow like spike massive engagement or interest in the show, and I just don't buy it. It doesn't track. I'll have another video hopefully later today that discusses the declining viewership for The Mandalorian as a whole. But I think it's stuffing this. It's like stuffing a ballot box. Like stuffing celebrity cameos into these episodes is not the way to go for this show. It just doesn't work. What I was saying about cutting out the unnecessary parts, everything Jack Black and Lizzo do in this episode sets up Bo-Katan and Din Djarin to go on their side quest of the week. But we don't need them because the angle could have been them talking with the Christopher Lloyd character that sets it up, since he's the one that's involved with the kind of the mystery anyway. He's the one involved with the droid uprising thing anyway, so they could have exposed it, much like the Scooby-Doo example I gave, where he's the one that puts him on the mission because he was directed to do it, you know, to resolve the droid problem, even though he was causing it. You know, he was told to do it by, you know, the Duchess and the Captain, the Lizzo and the Jack Black characters. We didn't need to see them. They could have landed. He could have said, hey, I need you to go do this droid thing before I can clear you to go visit the Mandalorians, you know, that they've hired. This Bo-Katan's former group had hired Bo-Katan's former comrades as like planetary security because blah, blah, blah politics. But anyway, so Christopher Lloyd's character could have been the barrier that they had to work with to overcome to be able to get the goal they wanted, which was to talk to the other Mandalorians to bring them back into the fold and recreate their culture, blah, blah, blah. But no, we have stupid scenes that look straight out of some kind of like Disney version Alice in Wonderland thing where like Jack Black and Lizzo are trussed up as royalty and they're eating at court and they're playing, you know, croquet like the Queen of Hearts did, and it's all very stupid and I don't know, it's just not Star Wars at all. Baby Yoda's involvement this week, while minimized, was stupid also. Like, he's helping her, he's cheating the game by force moving the croquet ball to get the Duchess a better score. They have another stupid Baby Yoda backflip where, you know, it's like, I got the doll behind me, like if I pick the doll up here and I just throw it at you guys at home, it's like that's what it looks like when they have this thing move. It looks terrible, like it's not good to watch. And then for some reason at the end of the episode, when Bo-Katan and Din are getting recognized for having solved the droid crisis, Lizzo the Queen is knighting like British royalty. She's knighting with the sword tap on the shoulder Baby Yoda for reasons like he didn't do anything. Like he didn't internally help her solve a problem within the palace or, you know, do anything noteworthy or story-worthy or anything. It's just he's just there, so they had to make one more reference to him in the episode so you could get your money's worth and then hopefully buy your 73rd Baby Yoda lunchbox or some shit. Like, no, it's done. The character is over. People are over Baby Yoda. Like, there's a small contingent of folks that show up for that, but like, he's not compelling. He doesn't talk. He doesn't act. He doesn't have agency or rapport with any of the characters at this point. Like, you've run through what you could do with him with Din already. Like, it's over. They had their father-son moment thing at the end of episode 2, at the end of season 2, when Din sent him off with Luke Skywalker. Then they had their happy reunion in the Boba Fett show, which was tragic on its own, but I mean, at least they were back together. They should have just rode them off into the sunset. Season 3 should have been about Din either conflicting with Bo-Katan and ownership of the Darksaber and about what to do about retaking Mandalore, or he should have just lost the fucking sword to her early on, let her go do her thing, set her up for her show, which is fine. I'd love to see that show, but that show is now bleeding into his show. Like, why? Why is season 3 not this dude, now free of babysitting detail, getting back to bounty hunting some shit, or exploring the tragedy that befell him as a kid, like maybe finding out who was responsible specifically for sending battle droids to his world and killing his family? That's compelling. That's a hero's journey. That's a revenge arc. There's stuff I want to see in that. But there's nothing left for him to do here. The case in point example is they get to the Mandalorians they're trying to reach at the end of this episode, and Bo-Katan's like, yeah, I need you guys to come back and come work for me. And they're like, no, we're not going to do that because you don't have the Darksaber. So then Din rolls up to her and being like, yeah, well, she can have my Darksaber. Here, take it. Because she rescued me and defeated the guy that stole the Darksaber from me when I was captured. So we're all cool, right? We're like, you guys can just follow her now. And they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, we weren't, whatever. I mean, I guess we don't have to have you guys just actually have a trial by combat in front of us or anything. You know, instead she challenges Dippy-Doo, new head of Mandalorian Renegades, and defeats him, and they settle their differences and now they're reunited or something, even though literally like 4 episodes ago Din tried giving her the sword and she was like, no. Like, it's just dumb. They backtrack on everything they set up. They don't show anybody any kind of consistent respect. They use the Mandalorian series obviously as a jump off point for other projects, which if you just treated him with some worthy respect on the way, I wouldn't care. Like, nobody, like, who was upset when Boba Fett showed up in The Mandalorian under the guise that he was getting his spinoff? Nobody, because he showed up for an episode or 2 and then he did his thing and then he left and got his own, albeit awful show, but nobody cared. But it's like here, I think you didn't see so much of it with Ahsoka because we already knew her stuff was going to be spelled out in a certain way, I think. But this Bo-Katan bleeding over into Mando season 3, it doesn't do right, which is too bad. I like the character. I like Katie Sack. Dude, I love Katie Sackhoff in Battlestar Galactica. She was great as Starbuck. You know, she's fine. She's great. She's a lovely person. Like, follow her on Instagram. She's fun to watch. Very easy to look at. Very easy on the eyes. But her character here, you know, like refinding the faith is great. That's a nice angle to go with. But that should have been her journey on her show after being introduced live action here to get her up on run and get a little traction going. But I'm digressing a little too far off into other things here. So my final thoughts on Mandalorian this week are that I'm glad this is almost over. I don't even understand what the remaining challenge is for them to go do. So they have a fuck ton of Mandalorians now. They have ships. Go take Mandalore. Who's going to stop you? Like, we know the planet's not poisonous like y'all thought. So unless we're going to reveal another big bad down there, who cares? Like is Moff Gideon going to show up with remnants of the Imperial fleet and tell you can't have your blasted piece of rock? Probably not. But I mean, I guess they're going to try and shoehorn that in there somewhere and like reconnect him back to Din, since Din's not even the one that defeated him. Like, you know, Luke Skywalker showed up and wrecked all his droids and shit. Like, I don't... It's a mess, guys. It's a mess, and I'm sad. I'm sad that this has befallen what I was enjoying through 2 seasons. You know, discrepancy with how you felt about the Luke Skywalker return at the end of season 2 or not. Like, I enjoyed the first 2 seasons of this show. It was never perfect, but it was at least a solid B plus week to week, with the occasional really good episode with really good writing, really good story work that I enjoyed. But this week, everything this season is a C- or less. There's been nothing that's really blown me away at all so far. So hopefully we only got 2 or 3 more of these, and then we can take a quick break, and then we'll get into the Ahsoka thing later in the summer. The rest for today, I think I'm going to try and get a trailer reaction to Ahsoka, because I understand one just came out yesterday. So I'll take a peek at that and see how Rosario Dawson's doing. But until next time, I'm going to let you guys roll out of here with King Z's thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one.
What up, people of the Winter Wolf's Den? It's your boy King Z down here at the 2023 Masters Tournament here in the beautiful Augusta, Georgia. I'm down here doing what I do, working at the lot, so I will not be in the studio to review The Mandalorian Episode 6 with my boy the Winter Wolf, but he's going to cut me in with my little thoughts here on this video. First off, I thought the show didn't know what it wanted to be. First off, it was a quest. Then it was a bounty hunt. Then it was a CSI episode. And then we get back to high teen fantasy with kings and queens. And then we're off to some Sparta battle. And then it was Return of the King. Oh man, all wrapped up into one episode that ran roughly about 35 minutes of on-screen time if you cut out the credits. Breaking it down, I really liked the CSI episode of it. I think if they took Star Wars in that type of direction and gave us a CSI type episode, or a direct bounty hunter, or hunting down the remnants of the Empire type series, I think that would be a fantastic series. Doing it just in the beats that they hit all the big story beats of doing a bounty. Number 2, I love my guys coming back, big stars, Mr. Jack Black himself as the king of Ferris 5 or Pfizer 15, whatever their planet name was. And then Christopher Lloyd, the man, Doc Brown, showing up and being a bad guy. What? Threw me off a little bit, but I knew they wouldn't use such a big actor for such a small role there in that first part where they were interviewing him. Bad parts. Once again, I'm going to agree with my boy Winter Wolf on this one. Baby Yoda had no purpose in this episode. Don't know why he's there. Don't know what it's about except to sell merchandise. But that's Disney's format. Gotta sell those toys. Things I also didn't like. Once again, I'm going to go back and beat this dead horse one more time with the very, very bad dialogue and very bad deliverance of the dialogue, with the queen giving her little spill there at the end. It looked like she was at a Renaissance fair and this is her first time playing the queen. It was a little rough, a little dry. So, with that said, there's no big technical issues of this one. And overall, I thought it was a decent episode. I like how they change things up every now and then. Oh, big news. I saw today Osaka's release date's been made for August of this year. So we get to see that Osaka series real soon, which hopefully they introduce General Thrawn finally. One of the big characters in the books if you read the post-movie books. But after that, I'm going to get off so I can get back to my job here at the Masters. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're watching the tournament. And if you stayed this long, go ahead and drop us a like. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell to keep getting the high content like this. Me and the Winter Wolf has some new show ideas coming up. We're going to be dropping those real soon as I get a more steady schedule. And we can start knocking these out and building them out so we can bring you high quality content. All right, well, y'all take care and I'll talk to you soon.